All right, ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
This time we're looking at treasurehunt.pdf. Someone sent this in, and let me tell you, it's a wild ride. We're talking treasure maps, hidden attics, and a journey into the heart of the Olympic rainforest.
The Olympic rainforest. You mean a real rainforest?
Yeah, a real place. And the author really uses that to set the stage. You can practically feel the humidity, the mystery hanging in the air, especially compared to that cool, dusty attic where it all begins.
I can see how that contrast would set the tone. Speaking of setting the stage, what about our main characters?
Right, we've got Lucas, your classic adventurous type, always raring to go. But then there's Malachi. He's more cautious, more of the voice of reason. That dynamic, the interplay between those two personalities, that's what really drew me in.
It's a classic pairing for a reason, isn't it? You know there's going to be some conflict, some growth along the way.
Exactly. And the author really plays with that, especially in those early scenes. Lucas is all gung-ho about the treasure map, but Malachi's the one who notices the strange symbols, the hints of danger.
Always good to have someone paying attention to the details, right? Makes you wonder, will that cautiousness help them or slow them down as they get deeper into the rainforest?
That's the question. And then on top of that, we start getting these hints of Pacific Northwest folklore, Sonoqua, Seedco, even whispers of Sasquatch.
It's fascinating how the author blends those elements in. You're never quite sure what's real and what's imagined.
Right. Is it the rainforest heat messing with their minds? Or are they about to stumble into something truly magical? Those myths, those legends, they have a way of getting under your skin, don't they?
They do. And they speak to a deeper truth about these stories, about a relationship with the unknown. The Olympic rainforest is a real place with a rich history and a sense of mystery that's hard to resist.
And using that real setting makes the fantastical elements even more powerful.
Exactly. It grounds the story in a way that makes the fantastical elements even more believable, even more chilling. It's like, if magic exists, this is where it would be, hidden in the heart of this ancient forest. And these mythical creatures, Sonoqua, Seedco, Sasquatch, they're not just figures of legend. They represent something primal, something powerful and untamed.
Right. It's that blend of reality and myth that makes it so compelling. You're along for the ride, wondering what's going to happen next.
That's just good storytelling, isn't it?
You know what really struck me about this story? It's how the author uses sound.
Oh, definitely.
Like from the very beginning, you've got these whispers, these murmurs, this constant feeling of being watched.
It's like the rainforest itself is alive listening.
Exactly. And it just builds this incredible atmosphere of unease, of anticipation. You know something's out there, but you can't see it.
It's a classic technique in adventure stories, this call to adventure, right? The hero, or in this case our heroes, they're being drawn into the unknown. And sound plays a huge role in that.
Right, like that rhythmic thumping they keep hearing.
Yes, almost like a heartbeat, right? It makes you think, what could be making that sound? Is it getting closer?
Totally. It reminded me of those old horror movies where the music swells just before something scary happens. You know it's coming, but you don't know what. And that anticipation is just killer.
And the author really ramps up that tension when they reach Crescent Lake.
Oh, that canoe scene. So good.
Right. 1 minute, it's this familiar, almost peaceful setting. And the next, it's like this ominous, almost otherworldly presence.
The way the author described the water, having this uneasy embrace, it's like it's not just water anymore. It's something alive, something potentially dangerous.
Totally. And I think that shift in the lake's atmosphere, it really mirrors what's going on with the boys at that point. You know? Their anxieties are growing, their doubts about the mission.
Oh, totally. It's like their internal struggles are starting to manifest in the world around them.
Exactly. The line between the psychological and the physical, it starts to blur.
That's a really good point. And speaking of blurring lines, their experience in that cavern behind the waterfall, talk about taking things to another level.
Oh yeah, that whole sequence is wild.
It's like they've stumbled into this hidden realm, this place of ancient power, the glowing veins, the pulsing light. You really get the sense that they're not in Kansas anymore.
And just when they think they're about to claim the treasure, bam, they're hit with Seedco's trials.
The maze of echoes, the chasm of fears, the mirror of truth. It's like something out of a myth.
It is. But I think those trials, they represent something deeper, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. They're not just physical challenges. They're psychological, emotional.
Exactly. The boys, they have to face their fears, their doubts, their past mistakes. They have to rely on each other, on that bond they formed back in the attic.
And it's interesting how their memories, especially those shared experiences, become a source of strength during the chasm of fears. Like those memories, those stories, they have the power to help us overcome even our darkest moments.
That's a great point. It's like the author is saying that our memories, our past experiences, they're not just things we carry around. They're a part of who we are, and they can make us stronger.
And they do overcome the trials, but just when you think they're in the clear, the cave disappears and they're back on the lake. What was that all about?
It's almost like, did it even happen? Or was it all some kind of test?
Right. Like a dream or a vision. The author leaves you hanging there wondering what's real and what's not. And that ambiguity, it just adds to the whole atmosphere of the story.
It does. And speaking of ambiguous creatures, what did you think of the Sasquatch?
I'll admit, I was a little surprised. I mean, here's this creature that's often portrayed as being kind of fearsome, even monstrous.
Right.
And in this story, he's actually kind of wise.
He's definitely not what you expect.
And helpful.
Right, he's like a guide.
Yeah, a mentor figure. He points them toward the hidden waterfall, but also stresses how important it is to respect the forest.
He even calls them out for thinking they could just waltz in and take the treasure.
Yeah, like this isn't just some prize to be claimed, it's connected to something bigger.
Exactly. There are consequences to their actions. The fate of the entire forest is at stake.
Which brings in that theme of interconnectedness we talked about earlier. It's not just about these two boys and their adventure. It's about how we're all connected to something larger than ourselves.
And how our choices have an impact on the world around us.
Definitely. But it's not all doom and gloom, right? I mean, the way they reach that hidden waterfall guided by a raccoon.
Talk about unexpected allies. It's like a little touch of magic, a reminder that wisdom can come from the most surprising places.
And that even the smallest creatures can play an important role. But things really go next level when they finally reach that celestial realm.
That's where things go from adventure story to something bigger, more profound.
Totally. It's like stepping through a doorway into another dimension. Suddenly, it's not just about finding a treasure anymore. It's about the fate of humanity.
It's a big shift, but the author pulls it off. You're already primed for it with all those whispers, those strange encounters.
Like it's all been building to this moment.
Exactly. And then we meet Raoul and Shariah.
Who radiate this incredible wisdom and authority.
They're like beings of pure light and energy.
And they drop this bombshell. Humanity is about to undergo a transformation. We're talking evolution on a cosmic scale.
From biological to robotic forms. It's a concept that's both exhilarating and terrifying, you know?
Definitely. And it makes you think about what it really means to be human.
Right. Where does our consciousness reside? What happens to it when our physical bodies are gone? These are questions humanity has been grappling with for centuries.
And I love how the author doesn't shy away from those questions. In fact, they embrace them.
It's like they're saying, this is the next chapter in human evolution. We're ready for it.
And those questions really come to the forefront with the talisman.
Right, this ancient artifact that can supposedly trigger this transformation.
But it's not just a matter of flipping a switch. There's a balance that needs to be struck.
Exactly. Raoul and Shariah, they make it clear that Lucas and Malachi, as guardians of this talisman, they have a huge responsibility.
To make sure this transformation unfolds in a way that benefits all of humanity.
Which is a lot of pressure for two kids who just wanted to find some treasure.
Talk about a life lesson.
Yeah.
And of course, Malachi being the impatient one, he jumps to the gun.
He tries to activate the talisman before they're truly in sync. And it seems like they've failed.
But even in that apparent failure, there's a lesson. Maybe even a bigger lesson than if they'd succeeded on the first try. It's a reminder that rushing into things, even with the best of intentions, can have unintended consequences.
Exactly. And it highlights the importance of balance, harmony, and a willingness to work together, which ultimately leads to their success. They return to their world forever changed, guardians of the talisman.
Carrying the weight of a cosmic destiny on their young shoulders, it's an ending that leaves you with more questions than answers, doesn't it? What will they do with this knowledge? How will they reconcile their ordinary lives with their extraordinary destiny?
And what does it all mean for us?
Exactly. It's a story that stays with you long after you finish reading. It makes you think about the power of belief, the importance of respecting nature, and the incredible potential that lies within each of us.
It's a reminder that the most profound journeys are often the ones we take within ourselves.
Well said. So to the listener who sent us this incredible story, thank you. You've given us a lot to ponder. And to everyone listening, keep exploring, keep questioning, and never stop seeking out those stories that spark your imagination. Until next time.
See you next time.